You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly show for video games, movies, TV shows, comics, tech news, and more. Now your hosts, Cody Pennick, Samantha Cross, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that would get more special guests, but is too nervous to ask.
It's true.
I'm Cody, and I have severe social anxiety.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Samantha.
Oh, we have a great show for you this week. Thank you all for tuning in. We have a bunch of news to go over, but first let's talk about some things we have been checking out this week. And Mr. Severe Social Anxiety? Putting you on the spot.
We've watched a couple episodes of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the new third season.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And,
she goes to hell.
yeah.
Okay, sure.
Like, right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the first episode, she's just dropping right in on the underworld.
Okay.
And it looks so dumb.
It looks like it's sponsored by Spirit of Halloween.
Yeah,
Oh,
Spirit
fantastic.
Halloween. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
like everyone's makeup in hell is... It looks like a haunted house makeup. Like,
Really?
Like...
Now,
but it's good though.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, did they do it on purpose?
That's what I'm
Is it purposely bad?
Maybe.
Like camp?
Maybe they don't want hell to like look cool.
Okay.
Like maybe it's like this place kind of sucks. Like
Yeah. That could. Okay. Yeah.
because it's like they rolled around in a party city and they're like, "Hey, welcome to hell."
I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's super corny and dumb, but also really fun and worth watching.
Well,
like,
yeah. I mean, corny and dumb. This is that CW era kind of
yeah.
style of show. So, yeah.
And Michelle Gomez just prowling around.
Yeah, oh god, she's the best.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sabrina becomes like the queen of hell.
Really?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So you're saying this is a bit of a departure from the original series
Yeah,
with
oh, yeah.
Melissa Joan Hart. No Penn and Teller in this one.
No, they should be.
Oh man,
They
that would
could
be
be.
that would be great.
They'd fit in this one
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Just darker.
Yeah.
Because wasn't Leland Palmer from Twin Peaks was in last season?
Oh,
What was he?
Oh, he was really.
He was some sort of like high priest of the Church of Night or something ridiculous, and he was hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
I can't remember that guy's name, but he's the best.
Oh yeah, I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head either.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah.
He's on that sitcom that Fresh Off the Boat, and he's hilarious on that show.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember him from the David Byrne movie, Big Stories or something like that. It's like this really weird, like offbeat comedy that the guy from the Talking Heads made once.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, it's Ray Wise.
Ray Wise, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, I want to watch a David Byrne movie. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I love the Talking Heads.
Yeah, it's kind of rad. It's like there's no overarching plot until like the third act, and it's just like this backwoods country town that like it's just following little vignettes of different people around the town. John Goodman is there, and like he wants to meet a girl. That's his whole thing. So he takes out an ad at like a late night like infomercial about how, you know, he's just a big cuddly teddy bear that wants to settle down, and you have throughout the whole thing, it's David Byrne in an oversized cowboy hat, like talking directly to the audience, saying, "Yeah, this is the mall. This is where people come to shop and, you know, talk to each other and meet each other, and then a little scene happens." It's a lot of fun. It's weird. It's weird, but it's not like creepy weird. It's just kind of offbeat. Kind of just weird enough.
He loves his oversized clothes.
He sure does. Well, because he's a very skinny, very small man if he's not wearing his giant suit.
I wish that David Byrne, David Bowie, David Lynch, and David Cronenberg would have made a movie.
It's too many Davids.
That would be the name of the movie.
Yeah, too many Davids.
You, David.
You, David. Do we have anything else? I started reading the Evangelion manga.
Oh.
It's really good. I mean, it's
Takes a departure from the show, right?
Yeah, it's different from the show enough to be interesting and worth reading.
Well, there was a theory about why it's different than... I mean, the real reason is the show hadn't finished by the time...
Oh, the manga actually came out before the show, even though...
And it continued after the show.
Yeah.
And by the time the show happened, the manga was in such a different place that they had to keep going in a different direction. But there's a kind of a theory about that. So you know how the series goes through and it ends with the end of Evangelion, where everyone turns into basically the world resets. Kind of.
Well, everybody turns into goo.
Everyone turns into goo, and eventually, and the theory is eventually everyone's going to not be goo once everyone decides they don't want to be goo anymore. And you know how
that's where the rebuild movies.
That's the rebuild movies happen.
Yeah.
The manga could be another possible reset. So it's all
maybe it was the first one.
It could be the first one, and then once it reset, it goes into the different ones. So it all ties together, just and being variations on a theme kind of thing.
Yeah, that and the manga isn't written by Anno.
No, it's written by a manga guy.
Yeah, it's written by the character designer for the show. Mm. So you're getting like somebody else's take on the story.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
That is kind of interesting. Yeah, it's kind of like, what would someone else do with these action figures, like in a different sandbox kind of a situation?
And it's a little easier to follow.
Yeah,
I think it doesn't. I wouldn't say it spells things out more, but it gives you little details that you might miss in the show.
Mm.
And it gets in other characters' heads more.
Oh, okay.
I'd say the anime is deeply in Shinji.
It's the Shinji show.
More
than anything.
And the manga, like you get like some of Rei's thoughts at one point.
Okay,
You get some of Kaji's backstory that happens like right after the second impact.
Oh,
so
interesting. Okay.
You get, there's like a chapter of post-apocalyptic stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. Right on.
It's worth reading. I was worried it was just going to be a retread.
The same thing over. But okay.
I'm glad I looked into it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, might be worth checking out. I actually learned the other day that, so you know how the King of Fighters fighting game characters, like a lot of the characters are based on different, properties. Like Benimaru, one of the...
he's a JoJo.
He's Polnareff from... Stardust Crusaders.
That's right. We just started watching Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah.
We're like 3 or 4 episodes into it.
Okay. But yeah, so you have that, and like Ryo is like Ryu from Street Fighter. Okay, so the Team Akari Warriors, the third character, what's her name? Leona, and her dad, who is like their general in later games, Hydern. Do these names sound familiar? Like military guy? Blue-haired military lady, and like her
I know
dad is
Leona, and Hydern sounds familiar.
Hydern looks like old military guy with an eye patch. Looks kind of like Big Boss. They are riffs on Misato and Gendo
from And they had the balls to call them Team Akari on top of that.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, also the games, Ralph and Clark were from Akari Warrior. Yeah. But what happened was they had the Akari Warriors, and they're like, oh, Akari, that's like Evangelion. Let's put in a couple of references.
Another thing struck me, we've been also watching the Netflix when we dropped it and picked it back up recently. Mm-hmm. But there's that one episode where there's an angel falling out of the sky, and they're all gonna have to catch it.
Yeah.
Looks exactly like Majora's Mask.
Yes.
When the giants catch the moon and throw it back. Like,
oh yeah. It's almost like this very influential thing has influenced a whole lot of different bits of media over the years.
It's such a good show. I know we've talked about this on here a million times.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite anime. It really is.
It's one of the few that I could sit and watch the entirety. That I've sat and watched the entirety of. I mean, it helps. I was only 26 episodes in a movie, but still, if it were 50 episodes or whatever, I probably would have sat through it. It was really interesting.
I need to rewatch the Rebuild. I've only seen the first 2 Rebuild movies.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of those. What was the thing that you just said you were had started?
Oh, Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah,
it's the 3rd season of JoJo. We've watched like the first 3 episodes, maybe.
Nice.
It's JoJo. I don't know how I feel about the stands.
It's weird.
Stands get
Yeah.
weird, and like they get weirder as they keep going.
Of course.
Yeah,
It's like Zodiac Pokemon ghosts.
kind of.
Like,
Yeah, like everyone has their one specific ghost pal, and like, yeah, it's weird. Wait till you get to like the later seasons with like the one that like King Crimson, who there's no real explanation for his powers other than like he can just delete the time in someone's life. So like it's like someone goes to punch him and then all of a sudden you're over there. It's because he's deleted 30 seconds out of your life and now you are where you would be 30 seconds from now. It makes no sense like on like a cosmic scale or anything like that, but like it makes no sense. It just makes no sense. And like there's one that's like, well, Aerosmith is a tiny airplane.
there's a tiny airplane named Aerosmith.
Yes, there is.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I wonder what they call it in the dub, because it's probably like Aerosmithu.
Something like that. Yeah.
They call Abdul. They call him Avdol.
Avdol. Yeah.
Which
Avdol.
is lame. I'm like, that can't be right. That
Yeah.
had to look
Yeah.
it up.
Oh,
I'm
no,
like,
yeah,
Abdul.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Which
but
they
no.
could have did that. That's a name people have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like his name was Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
It's Muhammad Abdul.
Yeah.
Which is a name.
It's a name. Yeah. Oh, there's another stand that is he is.
MC Scat Cat.
I wish it was. No, I wish there was an MC Scat Cat. No, there's one in a later season where it is a guy that punches things. You know, go figure. But also shoots out poisonous gas, and his name is Purple Haze. I think that's the best part about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is that all of the stands and all of the powers and all of the characters are like not so subtle references to
Classic rock.
because the guy who created it is just a big nerd for American classic rock. That's kind of great.
Well, that in the next season is going to be Steel Ball Run,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's just the Cannonball Run.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah. And then you start getting into alternate universes where one universe is what if Dio never went bad and his kid has a stand? Giovanni. I
Oh,
think
that
his
was
name?
what the last
Oh, is that what the last?
season of
Oh.
the show was, I think.
Oh yeah. But no, that's in a timeline separate from this timeline.
It's not delivery. It's
Yeah.
what was it?
Yeah, Giorno.
Giorno.
Yeah.
Wow, I blew
That's-
my joke because I couldn't say his name.
That's a good one. No, no, you got it. You got there. You got there eventually. I knew we knew what you're talking about. There is in one season a turtle that has a stand power that makes its shell into like a tiny waiting room for people to hide in.
It's
He
like
can
a-
shrink down people, and they turn, and it's like a little tiny like airplane, like a train car where you can sit and hang out and hide from people
He's
while
got
this
like a little
turtle's.
pocket spa, like
Yeah.
like Taco in Adventure Zone.
It is exactly a pocket spa, essentially, in his shell. Yeah, little tiny guy. Oh, I could go on and on about the stands and their names. Like, what's the one? It's Sex Pistols, where he shoots, where he has little tiny gremlins that will shoot out of a gun along with bullets, and the gremlins will like kick the bullets in different directions so that they always hit their mark. So it looks like magic, but it's really just tiny gremlins.
Why have all the stands so far have had really boring Zodiac names?
Because the series that it's that you're watching now was made back in the 80s, and he was like just figuring out like, oh yeah, I could just put in like band names and song names. I don't care.
I can do
Who
whatever
cares?
I want.
It's my thing. I don't. Yeah, like the first what book and a half. It was just a Fist of the North Star ripoff. That's what it started as. That's all it was. And then he's like, oh no, I can make like weird punch ghosts and give them rock star names.
I miss the Hammond stuff. I liked that.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Unfortunately,
in a dumb way.
that doesn't come back. Once stands come in, you're pretty much it's Magic Ghost City from here on out.
And then they do Who's That Pokemon as the eye catch.
Yeah.
Who's that sand?
Kind of. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Who's that sand? It's Sex Pistols.
Star Platinum. Okay, so anyway, I have one thing I checked out. I watched the first episode of the CBS All Access Prestige series Star Trek Picard. So I wish Josh was here. Well, one, I wish Josh was here, and not working. We miss him. Someday he'll come back. He'll be back sooner rather than later. We'll get him back on. But I wish he was here so we could talk more in depth about this, because I have a feeling he would have a lot of opinions as well. I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I don't know if I'm going to continue with it. I mean, I usually try to give shows a couple of episodes to try to find their footing, but like if every episode is like this, I have almost no interest in coming back to it. So I guess I have weird opinions of Star Trek. I think Star Trek is best when it is a lot of talking, a lot of philosophy, and not a ton of action. I prefer the thinkers.
I feel that way as well.
Yeah. And this show is everything that I don't care for when it comes to modern Star Trek. It is a lot of shaky cam and a lot of like high, fast-paced punching and kicking and flips and laser blasts and knives and cutting. A lot of murder for a Star Trek show, which is weird. There should be zero murder in a Star Trek show.
The only time there should be shaky cam in Star Trek is when they're on the bridge and they're all faking like they're bouncing around.
Exactly. But no, like, okay, so this is set 30 years in the future from where, what was it, Nemesis? The movie Nemesis ended? Something like that. I think that was the last one that featured the TNG actors. Again, I wish Josh was here to corroborate some of this with me. But like at some point between then and now, Picard had a falling out with Starfleet. Picard was on mission to save a bunch of Romulans from their sun going supernova, which makes no sense, but whatever. The writers, unlike classic Trek, where the writers at least had a fundamental idea of scientific stuff, or at least
how science works.
At least to the point where like people could go, okay, I could see what they're trying to do. It's not 100%, but there's it. Like they're like, oh no, this sun is going supernova tomorrow. We have to evacuate all of Romulus. Suns go into the process of going supernova for like thousands of years.
Yeah.
They would have plenty of time to evacuate their planet, but I digress.
They were having a Krypton moment.
Yeah, right. But yeah, anyway, I digress. So Picard goes to save these Romulans, and Starfleet's like, no, they're Romulans. We hate them because just because Starfleet is based on Earth, we're all now written as a bunch of
Earth-centric
Earth-centric xenophobes that hate aliens, and that's not it at all.
Starfleet is supposed to be beyond that. Like they've already passed that petty.
By thousands of years, they're supposed to be past that, but here we are, and like this is all being set up. Not so much in flashback, but like Picard is giving his first interview in like 30 years because he's been living on the Chateau de Picard in France with his vineyard for years, and like he's basically been conned into an interview with a Fox News or TMZ style news reporter
in Star Trek.
Yeah, because like the interviewer immediately goes, oh, and by the way, while this was all happening, a bunch of synthetic humanoids attacked the shipyards on Mars, and now Mars has been on fire for 30 years. You weren't there to help. Why not, Picard, you big dumb idiot? And this is within 5 minutes of the show starting, and I'm sitting there going, oh boy, I'm not going to have a good time with this. Okay, positives, lots of Earl Grey tea. In fact, to the point where I'm pretty sure the writers were told, okay, you're writing a show about Captain Picard. What do you know? Tea? Data?
Can you get
Vineyard?
Can you get him to put facepalm a lot, like in that popular internet image?
Which he does.
Some executive made him do that.
Oh yeah,
we gotta have that because that's popular on internet.
That's popular on internet. He has a dog, and his dog's name is Number One.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my response. That's exactly what I said, because he was being licked in the face after waking up from a nightmare where he was dreaming about his best buddy Data. More on that in a second. And he's like, oh, come on, Number One, please don't. Please don't, Number One.
He's got to take Number One out to go number two.
Yes. It's a good joke. I like it. A+, A for effort there. But while this is all happening, there is an unnamed character. Well, I guess her name, she gets a name, Dash. She is being attacked.
Dash Nebular.
She might as well be. Dash Mary Sue. She is being Dash Rendar, yes. So Dash Rendar is getting attacked in her apartment by a bunch of assailants. These people teleport in, and instead of using phasers set to stun and or kill, like Star Trek, instead they threw a knife through a guy's chest and then put a bag over her head and started banging her around to try to knock her out instead of using phasers set to stun.
Oh, God. It doesn't make any sense.
Star Trek! Long story short, there is a very, very high probability that this character, Dash, is or was Data's daughter. Like, Data, used some of his brain patterns before he died to, create a synthetic a synthetic robot like him, but also has, synthetic skin and bone and stuff, so they pass as human. Unfortunately, she explodes at the end of the episode, but in a twist, she has a twin sister played by the same character who is currently working with the Romulans on a Borg cube.
Well, because you got to put all the Star Trek things in there you can get a hold of.
So at this point we have synthetics like Data, and we have the Romulans, who were the kind of the antagonists of TNG at one point, but never out and out, we are going to start a war. They're not Klingons. They're not going to start a war. They're we're going to trick you into going into the neutral zone so that we can get away with kind of inching our way a little bit closer. That's all they were. They were a sneaky, conniving kind of threat. They weren't we're going to get a bunch of ships and blow you up. That was not their style. And also a Borg cube. So because again, the writers were what do we know about Picard? Locutus. He was a Borg one time. Do you remember that time he was a Borg? That was awesome. I swear. And okay, so the thing about, I said I was going to get back to it, and we're getting close on time. So a lot of the show is predicated on this deep, super deep friendship that Picard had with his best friend of the whole wide universe, Data, his super best pal,
his best robot buddy,
that he seems almost like he is pining for a little bit in some of these dream sequences. It's weird, but his best buddy in the whole world, number one fan, best pal, Data, who they played cards with at all times. Except if anyone's ever actually watched Next Generation, Picard respected Data as, a highly advanced machine, and respected his opinions as a logic-filled machine and competent member of his crew. But when it came to being friendly and putting up with Data's antics, Picard tolerated him at best. There are scenes in which he is being asked, now, Picard, did you, are you saying that Data, you trusted Data, all of his decisions 100% of the time, no matter what? He's like, I would trust that man with my life. And I'm thinking back to that episode where Data hijacked the ship and locked out, did all this weird stuff, and all the times that Data would go nuts and start smacking people around. And all these times, I'm thinking about no, none of this is right. And also, at one point, Picard goes to the basically a giant library of or a museum of Star Trek ephemera, history stuff, and he goes into the TNG vault, basically, and he sees on the wall, oh look, hey, there's a batleth. Oh, isn't that cool? And here's a box full of old memorabilia and stuff.
Oh, they've got Q here behind glass.
I was waiting for it. I was really waiting. I really hope John DeLance shows up at some point in this. That would be great. It would be a highlight. But like on one of the walls, it's like Captain Picard Day that a bunch of children wrote on a banner, which did happen in an episode, but there's no reason why Picard would have kept it. One, Picard hates children.
He hates kids.
He hates kids. Two, if anything, it was saved by Marina Sirtis. Deanna Troi as a joke. And three, it would have been on the version of the Enterprise that totally exploded. So it should not exist. That's a nitpick, but still, come on. I don't care for it.
It sounds like they didn't try that hard.
They didn't. It's the first act of a very bad movie. The only way that I can reconcile with all these differences and all this weirdness is if they somehow say that, okay, think back to the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, where it was set. It's like started kind of in the regular, and then it jumped to the Kelvin timeline, the one where like the starship Kelvin exploded and like Kirk's whole timeline was messed up and the timeline was changed. What if this is the future Picard of the Kelvin timeline?
That would make more sense.
Where things are a little more raw and Picard isn't quite right. That's the only way I can justify any of this stuff going on. Otherwise, it is just rotten. I will give it one more episode. To try, but nah.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot, but I'm not excited about it anymore.
Yeah. No.
You really took the shine off of it.
Well, form your own opinions, and maybe I'm being way too much of a nitpicker, and maybe I should just cool it and be like, oh hey. Sci-fi. It's a good sci-fi show. It's a good concept for a sci-fi show.
But it's Star Trek. They gotta know people are gonna do that.
Yeah.
They gotta know this stuff is important to people.
Yeah, and I don't know as much about TNG as, a lot of people out there.
Yeah, I've watched more original series than TNG.
Same here.
And probably more Voyager than Next Gen, honestly.
Yeah. I don't understand the fascination with making a Star Trek grim and gritty and dark and violent.
Yeah.
Okay, they did DS9, and that was supposed to be like their more serious, gritty series. Okay, that's fine. Do one series of that. Great. But Star Trek's supposed to be like the utopian future filled with wonder and adventure. It's not supposed to be, I'm going to murder your boyfriend with a knife through the chest and also slam your head on a table until you do kung fu kicks.
This is 24.
Yeah, kinda. It's bad. Bad.
You can't be like, we're bringing back a beloved character again, and you get a, but it's all different.
We're bringing back beloved character and all of his famous tropes. Look at the tea he's drinking. He has a robot friend, number 1.
I've been thinking about it, and that Data was one hot piece of machinery.
He may have said that. The way he was given the sex eyes to old Data in some of those dream sequences, it was. You could cut the tension with a knife. Let me tell you what.
With a batleth.
You can cut it with a batleth. Yeah, that's it. Yes. Also, Seven of Nine's supposed to show up, and I don't think they ever met.
No.
So I
don't think so.
So why would 7 of 9 care? I mean, other than I guess, she is a Borg, and Picard was a Borg. I guess, maybe, whatever.
I mean, technically, they may have met through the hive mind. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I guess the only other good thing I could say about it is Alison Pill is in this as someone who works at the Daystrom Institute, the people who like the Science Institute on Earth. Alison Pill was
Kim Pine,
yeah, and she plays a super bubbly robotics technician who's going to be going on an adventure. She might be kind of plucky comic relief a little bit, which again Star Trek doesn't really need, but at this point it's barely Trek anyway. So hey, why not?
All right. If you want to watch Star Trek, you got to watch The Orville, I guess.
Yeah, seriously. Yep. That's it, because The Orville is... it's doing it so much better. It's so much better. Like,
it really is.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get much more of that, I don't think, because what's his name? Seth MacFarlane signed a bazillion-dollar deal with NBC.
yeah.
So
Unless they move the show to NBC or to Hulu or the Peacock or whatever their streaming thing's going to be. Whatever. But like the Orville's great, and I wish more Star Trek was the Orville and not Star Trek Discovery or the movies.
Yeah. Although what I've seen of Discovery wasn't terrible. It was better than like the J.J. Abrams movies, but it's still something not exactly right.
Did you watch any of season 2?
No.
Okay. Spock's in it.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Spock's in it, and he's crazy because he saw some time traveler that turns out to be not a time traveler, and also there's like a Klingon that was body modded into a human, and also someone has a giant bomb on a planet to become the queen of the Klingons, and like there's sword fights. Why is Star Trek gotta be like this? I just want my happy. I don't want it to be like, dumbed down and like, ignorant of like, modern storytelling tropes or anything like that. I think you could still tell a respectable, adult, like entertaining, serious story.
Like when they brought back the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone. It feels like a decently modernized version of the original without being, dumb.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess it's an easy way, like, I don't know. I guess it's just like an easy way to shorthand serious and mature is to make it full of death and guns and kung fu kicks and dramatic pauses while they speak dramatic lines about serious things, and it doesn't leave much room for fun. Even the most serious episodes of Star Trek are still fun. I don't know. I miss old Trek. Hey, let's go to break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some news. Hey, we're back. That was Yoda by Weird Al Yankovic.
Because it's a classic.
It's a straight up banger.
Yeah. Also, there was a reason why we played
there was a reason.
We have some little Green Man related news.
Yeah. Hey, Samantha, what is the reason we played the Yoda song?
You can buy a life-size Baby Yoda. And I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Sideshow Collectibles is releasing a $350 life-size Yoda figure, Baby Yoda figure.
I want to see the child.
I want to purchase the child for my home or office.
Just like cradling it.
Yeah.
Put it in a stroller.
Mm-hmm. Yes. No, this thing looks amazing.
Yeah, you have to look it up, seriously.
Yeah.
He's even got the little shifter knob from Mando's spaceship that I forget the name of because I'm a bad Mando fan apparently. The
Razor's Edge.
The Razor Hog.
Razorback?
The Razorback. I think that was it.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Call your mommy. She'll know.
She'll know. But anyway, yeah, this fig looks amazing. Like, they have it down to like the pores on his face and everything. It is like screen accurate.
Yeah.
Razor Crest.
The Razor Crest, boy, that is the most edgelordy sounding name.
It really is.
It sounds like something a 14-year-old would name like, oh man, someday I'm going to own a Corvette and I'm going to name it the Razor Crest. Going to put flames on the side. Like, the Mando seems like the type that, given the opportunity, he would paint flames on the side of his ship, right?
Yeah.
He would have the armorer put them on.
Yes, he would. Yes. This is the way.
Flames, please.
Flames, please.
His ship's kind of a pile, though.
You know what? The flames make it go faster.
He has to rebuild the entire thing in that one episode because the
he
Jawas
does. Yep.
strip it down.
Yep, for the egg. The egg.
Can you find my egg? That's what the Jawas.
Perfect. Yes.
And then they just eat all the delicious egg juice inside.
Yes. But yeah, this fig looks amazing. I mean, there's really not a whole lot of news other than it exists and it is.
I want it. You can buy it for me. Also, if there's something else that you want to spend $300 on, Nintendo just announced a new Switch.
They did.
Oh yeah, for the Animal Crossing, right?
Excellent transition.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I like it. Nailed it. Yeah.
There's the special Animal Crossing Switch coming out with the game that comes out in March.
Mm-hmm.
March 20th? March 3rd?
20th.
March
20th.
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 Too bad it's not March 3rd.
Yeah.
It's a neat color, though. It's like kind of pastel blue and green.
Yeah, it's very islandy.
Yeah.
Chill.
And the dock has a design on it, and the back plate has a design on it as well. It looks really nice. I dig it quite a bit.
It's the best special one they've come out with, I think.
Oh, it's way better than the Pikachu and Eevee one, where it's yellow and brown.
Brown. And there wasn't anything on the dock for that one.
it was just colored switches,
Yeah.
Switch Joy-Cons.
I don't think they've done a special dock till now, and that they should have.
It's
That's really cool.
cute.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really cool. I like it a lot. It's very neat.
you could get it, Scott. You can get it on that extra battery life.
That would be nice.
It is.
Oh
nice.
yeah.
I've got a newer one with the extra battery life.
Oh, is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You can tell.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because somebody was nice enough to get it for me for Christmas. Thank you.
You kind of broke the back of yours.
I did also break the back panel on it because I dropped it.
Oh.
Of the old one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get like a new Switch with the battery life, but I'm fearless enough to mod the one that I have, and I think you can take the back panel off of the current Switch and like the main LCD screen bit, and you can replace the battery. Seems like it's fairly easy, has pretty easy access, and I think I might do that at some point when the battery starts getting bad.
I found out you can get the back panel off by dropping it.
Well, yeah, that would do it. I mean that is step one of the process is throw, or as the teens say, yeet your Switch across the room.
I'm gonna try to mod my old one too because it
Oh, nice.
still works.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play with that.
Okay, yeah, why not? Yeah, the changing the plates and stuff is fun. I haven't done the right Joy-Con yet because everything I've heard is that working around the infrared eye on the bottom of the right Joy-Con is a pain and is a nightmare because if it's not placed correctly, breaks the whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So like everything fits a little bit tighter and it just is not. It's harrowing. Is how I have heard it described.
And if your IR thing doesn't work, you can't check your pulse in Ring Fit.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
Which is such a weird thing that it does.
Yeah.
Like you just put your thumb over the IR sensor and it can check your pulse that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it works the same with pulse oximeters. I mean, I use them at work all the time, and it just looks like a little red light that you put on your finger, and somehow it checks pulse and blood oxygen level. Like, it's weird. Okay, so moving on from that, do we want to continue with some game news? I mean, we have a lot of game news.
Go
Now
for
I'm looking
it.
at it. Okay, well, hey, Tetris. Let's talk about the Tetris.
So recently, EA had a fairly popular Tetris. Well, it was like the only Tetris you could get on your phone, official Tetris anyway.
Yeah.
They had a Tetris iPhone app that is gone now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't play it anymore, even if you bought it, because the premium version of it wasn't an in-app purchase supported thing. You had to buy the game for like a couple bucks.
Ooh.
And now it's gone because their license with the Tetris company ran out, and so everybody that bought it is just out of luck.
Yeah.
Your game is bye-bye.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's a real shame.
So remember, this is our digital future.
Yeah.
Where
Nothing is permanent.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a new version of Tetris on the phone by a different company that you can get.
Is it also a pay-for app?
No, it's free to play, But right now, it's like the most bare bones version of Tetris you could imagine.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It is just Tetris. It doesn't do anything special. The only neat thing you can do with it is there's like 5 or 6 skins that you can put on it.
Okay. Does it have the Russian dancing song? The
You know,
Tetris song?
When I played it, I didn't have the volume on. I would assume so because one of the skins has like the Russian palace, whatever that thing's called, in the background.
Yeah.
One of the other ones looks like the Game Boy version, and that's pretty cool.
Oh, cool. There is a band that does a cover of that song, and I can't think of... What is the name of that band?
Every Nintendo core band.
Pretty much. You vamp for a second. I'm going to look that up because, yeah.
For my money, the best version of Tetris they've ever done is the one for DS. Tetris DS that has all the fun Nintendo stuff in it.
Yeah.
It has a bunch of weird game modes that are like inspired by NES games, and that's my favorite Tetris.
I like Tetris 99. I'm terrible at Tetris, but I like that kind of timing and it's kind of neat to watch everybody else play at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah, the band is called Ozma, and it is off their album The Double Donkey Disc.
Be careful when you say that one.
Yeah, but they sound like Weezer. They sound like Weezer, but they did a cover of that song, and it's actually really it's really good. I like it a lot. I'm not going to put it in here. I'm not going to add extra work for myself, but you'll just have to find that for your own self.
Maybe it'll be the song next week if we remember.
Maybe.
Tetris Effect is also a good Tetris that I should play more of.
Yeah.
But then I'd have to turn on my PlayStation, which I have not done in a long time since Death Stranding, which I've not finished.
Oh, how far are you into Death Stranding?
Not any further than I was last time we talked about Death Stranding.
Gotcha. Okay.
Stop buying games.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Oh, I started playing that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it next week.
Yeah, I guess I'll talk about it next week.
Or you can talk about it now because let's talk about it now.
It's like somebody played a cruel trick on me personally and made a cool Star Wars game that has an interesting story and real good graphics, and then made it play like a Dark Souls.
So nearly impossible where you die all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I guess we should explain what a Dark Souls
and
is.
You're punished pretty harshly when you do die.
Oh.
It takes away all the experience points you earned for that current level, and the only way you can get them back is to go back and find the monster that killed you and smack him once.
Then run away.
And then you can try to beat him at that point, or just run away and go do something else.
That sounds like a Dark Soul.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like a Dark Soul.
But everything outside of the combat is like cool platforming, like Uncharted style climbing and jumping and
nice
stuff I really like. And finding little audio logs and kind of Metroid Prime-y scanning and exploring. Like it checks every box for me except for the combat that I'm terrible at.
Now, is this a situation where you just need to
get
good scrub?
Probably. I don't want a game to hurt. Like, I don't want to spend the time to get really good at one video game.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
That value trade-off doesn't seem like it's worth it to me.
You're too old for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that
Stuff to do.
I know that exact feeling. There was a point in my life where I thought, hey, I should get really good at Street Fighter. And there was a point where that could have been the only game I played, and I could have gotten very good at it. Because I was, at one point in time, I don't like to brag, I used to be pretty okay at fighting games. But decided to play other games instead of just only Street Fighter forever.
Especially, like, it's a good Star Wars game, but nobody's going to be talking about it in 2 years.
Sure, yeah.
Like, why would I invest so much time to get really good at this one game that ultimately is going to be pretty forgettable?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that they made a good Star Wars game finally, which is not a hard thing to do. They did it a ton in the past.
Yeah. Look at Super Star Wars.
It's okay. But like, almost all the Star Wars games LucasArts made, almost all of them are good. And then EA gets the license, and it takes them 3 games to make a passable one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's see. Okay, tell me about this Warcraft thing.
Apparently, the remastered version of Warcraft 3 came out very recently, if not today.
Mm-hmm.
And people are mad, but not in that, like, inert internet anger kind of way. Like, they actually have a decent reason to be angry.
What? People have an actual reason to be mad and not
at Blizzard.
At Blizzard?
Yeah. Because when they messed up the new version of the game, they retroactively messed up the old version of the game. It has, like, new multiplayer, like, servers and back-end code that now the old game is updated to use, and it doesn't work very well.
Oh, bummer. Huh.
So they took a game that already worked fine and is also, like, 19 years old and messed it up for everybody. So they could... And even, like, the remastered version I heard isn't even that good.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't make it that much better.
They didn't do enough. Yeah.
And the cutscenes, which is something that they were hyping up a lot, aren't up to their usual standard.
Oh, really?
If there's one thing Blizzard does really well, other than taking other people's games and making them and polishing them and making them better,
yeah,
it's make really good cinematic, like, Pixar level cutscenes.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And
well, look at any of the Overwatch shorts, like any of them.
Yeah,
that one with the robot, and the bird. I don't know the character's name. Bastion. The one, he has a robot and a bird, and it's very cute. But it looks like a Pixar short. Gives you the feels, as the children say.
But it's just it's another thing like, welcome to our digital future. Now your old games are getting ruined.
We ruin your old games. Hey, we just put out a remastered version.
It's not good either.
But it's new. Give us money.
Nobody will play our new version if it's not as good as the old one. We'll break the old one.
That's planned obsolescence. Yeah, that's...
Blizzard's really hurting right now. Like, they just can't seem to do anything right lately.
Oh yes, I feel terrible for Blizzard. Yeah. I just feel so bad for Blizzard and Activision and Tencent. Oh boy.
And their Chinese masters.
They're Chinese overlords. I just feel so, just so bad for them.
They used to be such a good company that like made good games and treated their employees good, and didn't release a product until they knew it was perfect. They canceled several games that were years in development just because they didn't think they met their standard. And now they're doing this. Ever since they got bought by Activision and in turn Tencent, who owns
Activision.
They've really been just run into the ground, unfortunately.
Yep.
And I think anybody who was important in Blizzard's past is already like up and left that sinking ship.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
They used to be like PC's Nintendo.
Yeah.
Is the closest analog I can think of.
Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate. Yeah. But oh well, I mean, we'll just they'll figure it out sooner or later. Or they won't, whatever.
When your Diablo phone game comes out.
Yeah. If
they're even gonna, well, they'll release it now because they
have to.
They don't have that same standard anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's that.
We'll do anything.
There's that Warcraft point and click adventure game. It was like almost somebody found it somewhere and uploaded it. You can play it.
Yeah.
It's basically done, but they're like, no, this isn't good enough. So they just buried it. Like, that's ridiculous.
That is weird. Yeah.
They paid for fully animated cutscenes.
Huh.
And they're like, no. And it's not. I've played some of it, and I thought it was pretty good. It's just
weird.
The animation is done by the same company that did those awful Zelda CDI.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean it looks better than that.
Oh, I would hope so. It would not be difficult to look better than.
I think they're called Animation Magic.
Okay.
They look better than that, but they're still slightly reminiscent
Called
of it.
Garbage from a toilet is what it's called.
They still have that like really that pixely like weird look to them.
Yeah. Oh, weird. Okay, so we have a little bit of news about Pokemon Home.
It looks
Go
like
ahead.
if a computer made He-Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds okay. All right, so anyway, yeah, this Pokemon Home news. So Pokemon Home is a subscription feature that is similar to the previous program, Pokemon Bank, which is like it's a side program to the Pokemon games where you can upload games from little creatures from previous games up into the cloud, basically, so you can bring them into the most recent version of your game. It has backwards. We've talked about this on the show before. It has backwards compatibility with pretty much any game. If you can work around, you can get just about any game's stuff up into the cloud, including at one point it's going to have Pokemon Go connectivity, which is kind of neat. But it's been fairly quiet on the news front for a while. And it's supposed to be launching like this month or like February. So like I guess this comes out on Saturday. So this month, technically. So there is a price point for the thing now. There is a free version with limited storage and transfers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you can store 30 of your guys in there. If
You can put 30 mans in there. Or you can do the subscription feature, which bumps it up to like 6,000 guys or something like that.
It's a big gap.
It's a big gap. And
why even put a limit on it? Like each Pokemon has to be like bytes of data.
yeah.
They should be like, hey, try and fill it up. I bet you can.
Well, there's a lot of people who play Pokemon.
That's true.
Yeah. But and a lot of websites are running the article saying that it's going to cost you $16. That's a little misleading
Because that's a year.
That's for the year. The monthly price is $2.99. Paying $16 for the year is the better deal. And if you plan on doing a lot of training and trading and like that sort of
Other
thing,
T
words pertaining to Pokemon, at least for the 1 year that you have, Pokemon, Sword and Shield, and you're playing the game, it's worth it. I would say it's worth spending the little extra bit of change. And if it's a one-time deal, you pay for it once, and chances are, if you don't get $16 worth of use out of it, you just don't re-up.
Again.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
I mean, I probably won't pay for it because those features aren't important to me at all.
Sure. I may look at. There's also a 6-month, which is $6. I think $6 or $7. I think it's $7 because that doesn't
not
make
quite
sense.
$1 a month.
Yeah, I may look at the 6-month and see where I'm at after that, because I can drop $5 or $6 into a bucket, and if it's not worth it, then I will just back out and not mess with it again. If nothing else, I'll use those 6 months to get my full Pokedex and then never think about the game again until the DLC.
I want that DLC.
I do want that
cool to me.
DLC. That looks really, really good. Yeah.
I was just hoping that it would do more stuff. I don't know exactly what. But
the home. Yeah. They say that it's supposed to have. That's where your national dex is going to be. So people complaining that the main game doesn't have every single Pokemon in it, this is where you can put every single Pokemon and show off that you caught all the mans. And it said that there's going to be battle data eventually, which I don't know if that means that they're going to.
What does that exactly mean?
I'm not sure if that means that you can actually have like mock fights with people, with friends. I know it's going to have a phone app that you can trade your buddies with your buddies through a phone, so you don't even have to open up your Switch to do, which
that's pretty cool.
Which is kind of cool. That's kind of a neat feature. This is where the GTS, the Global Trade system.
Which felt like kind of a glaring omission from Sword
Yeah.
and Shield. And everybody's like, why is this gone?
Yeah, basically what the GTS is, right now in the game you can trade stuff online, but it's a crapshoot. You pretty much just say, hey, I have this one thing, just trade me whatever for it, and you don't know, you're not saying...
Yeah, it's a random trade.
It's a random trade. With the GTS, you could say, hey, I have this semi-rare thing that I have, but I am looking for this other semi-rare thing.
It's Tinder for Pokemon.
Yeah, kind of. But, yeah, so it's a lot easier to fill out your Pokedex if you're looking for one specific thing.
Like, yeah, I need a Purvis, but I'll only trade for Murgo.
That's it. Yeah.
Those are real Pokemon.
They are. Hey, for all we know, they might be Temtems. I don't know. That game looks pretty good, by the way.
It does. I'm very torn on one hand, it being like, oh, it looks like Pokemon and fun. And the other hand, it looks like an absolute ripoff of Pokemon to the point where it's like derivative.
Well, there's a bit of an argument there because the idea of having getting a team of fighting monsters together was originally done by Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
So it's not. So there isn't an argument about, oh, this is the idea of catching monsters and battling with them. There's a precedent for like other things in this type of kind of thing.
But it looks so similar to Pokemon, though.
It does.
Graphically, it looks the same.
It
and
does.
Then they come out of cards like they're Pokeball.
But I guess at what point does it stop being an homage and start being a ripoff? Because like where would this compare? Like this is to Temtem is to Pokemon, and Shovel Knight is to like Mega Man.
Shovel Knight does a lot different, though.
Yeah,
like a lot.
Okay, well. Well, still. Okay, or like, what's another, this is a bad example, but Mighty Number 9.
To Mega Man? Well, Mighty Number 9 was kind of a ripoff.
Yeah.
I kind of felt the same way about that, too. It's like, I understand you can't make a Mega Man game, but like, you could make it a little different.
I think that Temtem is at least a little bit more of its own thing. I think it is further back on the scale of being closer to homage and not quite as much a blatant ripoff as Mighty Number 9. But yeah, I can see that. Sure.
The other thing I don't like is the National Dex butt lords are kind of clinging to it and being like, this is what you should have done. Look at this. I'm just going to play Temtem now. And it's like,
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's kind of neat to see what another type of development team would do with that style of game.
Yeah. I still want to try it. I'm going to wait till it comes out on console.
The always online MMO stuff seems kind of dumb, though. It doesn't seem like it adds much to the overall gameplay from what I've seen.
It doesn't seem like it's really like an MMO. It just seems like you can kind of like see other people go by sometimes.
You can have random battles at any time with other trainers, but when you have trainer battles with other live humans, once you get out of it, you don't lose any health or anything, so you could just pick right back up in the game where you're at.
It's kind of like a here comes a new challenger fighting game.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I guess because it's a permanent 2-on-2, you can actually team up with a friend in the game and have each person throw out one
cool.
buddy. And you can kind of go through the entire game as a 2-player team.
That's really neat.
I think that's kind of neat as well, but I don't know if it adds super that much to the game.
I haven't really looked at the monster designs either. I don't know if they're good or not. 'Cause that can make or break it too.
They're decent. I mean, the art style is a little simplistic, but I think
Pokemon.
like Pokemon, but like, it's stylized simplistic, and I think that helps quite a bit. But I don't know. Right now there's 75 in the game. They want to have 161 by the time the game is out of beta and onto the full release, from what I understand. But hey, that's been Tem Talk.
Tem Talk.
And actually, we've hit the time for the show, so let's go ahead and wrap things up. You've been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com. You can also find us on various forms of social media, like Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram, by searching Nerd Overload now.
You can email us at staff@nerdoverload.com.
you can call us on the Nerd Overload bat phone and leave a message for us to maybe play on the show. As long as you don't like swear a bunch. It's at 586-372-8020.
That's right, old chum. You can also find all of our shows on various podcast catchers like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and more. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/Nerd Overload now. So if you like the show and you want to help support us, you can head on over there and check that out. You can get the show a couple days early, which is pretty cool. And I'd like to thank David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can find more of his music at davidpencil.com. And again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
And if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Keep your stick on the ice.